Welcome to episode 125 of Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo, and I'm joined this week with fancy new microphones, as I'm joined each week by
Doug Gray with Extreme Brewing Supplies. Hey, we're here. Anyway, I'll start with the weather report. It was snowing outside just a few minutes ago. It was a nasty, windy day outside. So.
Yeah, and it's cold. It was very, very cold all day today.
Anyway. Winter's not over yet.
No, winter's not over yet, and it's just as well. I haven't wrapped my fig tree, so I only have a couple days to do that. So, my wife
haven't wrapped them yet?
No. I just try to wrap them before the spring, and then I usually put them off until the summer.
But I thought you wanted them wrapped during the wintertime so that all the cold and everything doesn't affect them so much.
No, actually, you wrap them to keep them
from
when
sprouting.
When they bloom. You don't want frost on the blooms. That's what it does. So as long as I wrap them between the time that, because every year it stops, every year it snows in April now, and it's like as soon as my fig trees bloom, I'm like, oh, I guess it's gonna snow next week. So I have until then to get that done. But that's my working plan. All sorts of fun this week. Lots of stuff going on to talk about. We'll start real quick with a little reminder that we have the Love on Tap event coming up, and that is February 5th at Secrets in Ocean City. There are still some tickets left. February 25th.
25th.
And then 4 days after that, I won't have to say February for another couple years, which will make me the happiest man on earth. I got to taste a bunch of the beers, and a bunch of the beers are very good. Well, we'll talk about this more on the show because I want to get to the Extreme Brewing Doug plugs first. And then we'll talk about more. Also, we're drinking. You want to talk about what we're drinking?
We're drinking Midas Touch today, which is one of the ancient ale series from Dogfish Head. Now, we've had this recipe available to us probably for over 10 years now because it was in the first copy of the Extreme Brewing, first version of the Extreme Brewing book. So we've had this available for quite a while. But we've expanded the Ancient Ale series now to include Theobroma, Chicha, Pulque, and we've got some more coming out, which will be Chateau Giahu, Tehenkit, and Beer Etrusca.
If you're a new listener, you may not know this, but Doug actually brewed all of them again to make sure that they tasted right before he put them back out. So they were like cases and cases and cases of this beer. And you brought them up for a tasting.
Yes, we took. I actually took some up to Patrick McGovern, who's the archaeologist who had discovered some of these locations where they'd got the vessels from, and he did the analysis on it and gave the results to Sam Calagione from Dogfish. So they've brewed these beers from the input from Patrick McGovern. Patrick McGovern is has written a book, which is supposed to be out here sometime, I think second quarter of this year. But they asked me to give a homebrew version of what Dogfish was making. So they told me the ingredients and approximate ratios, and I came up with commonly used homebrew supplies that you could get, as well as all the spices and honey and whatever else was needed to make the beer, as well as the process. So we're starting to have those out available now. I think, as I said, we've got the Theobroma, the Chicha, the Midas Touch, and the Pulque available now.
And actually, the Pulque is the only one we haven't tasted here. The other ones, we did tastings on all of them, and they were all quite good. The Chicha you did with
strawberries and pepperberries, which are all spice.
Oh, that was very good, very good.
And the Pulque's got the jalapenos in it.
So hopefully we'll get a chance to try that one again soon. Just real quick, also this weekend at Extreme Brewing, I'll be here doing the filming. They're going to have a mead making class.
Jay Talkington, who's currently brewer at Dogfish, but opening a meadery very shortly. It's under construction. I think they're doing the final touches so that hopefully a month or two he should be in and having things available at his location, which is over just outside of Lewis on Route 9.
And if you can't make it, but you're interested in knowing how to make mead, or if you know anybody knowing how to make mead, we're going to try to do. I'm definitely going to film it. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it live or not. That's something that we're going to have to find out about. I mentioned we have fancy new microphones for those of you who are not watching, just listening. Hopefully, it sounds a little bit better. But we'll be using the old microphones because that way I can record them separately, and I think it'll come out real well. So.
And if you're interested in coming, please let us know. We've got a limited amount of space, so. We want to know how many people are going to be here to try to fit everybody in.
Yeah, and Patty's already gone out for snacks, so there will be snacks. So. And if you're interested in brewing something other than mead, if you want to make wine or beer, you have classes coming up?
Yeah, we've got classes. Also, we have a get-together, a winter winemakers gathering, which is coming February 25th. On March 4th, we've got a beer judge, Jimmy Kroom, coming. He's a BJCP certified beer judge. It's an opportunity for anybody who wants to ask the beer judge what's involved in either becoming a beer judge or what are they looking for in beers that are submitted to be judged. On March 11th, we got recipe development from Evolution Brewers. We expect to have Mike Poronsky and Jimmy Sharp here.
I've been writing about Mike a couple times lately. I just keep his name cut and pasted on my on my clipboard so I can just grab it, because trying to I mean, you know, my name's easy to spell. His is less easy to spell.
Thank you.
I wanted to mention about the beer judge thing. If you're a home brewer, this is a good opportunity to kind of figure out, like, you don't always get, I mean, you might have some friends who are judges, but if you don't, you might. Jimmy's been a judge forever, right? He's been a judge for a long time.
Yeah, I think he sat on for his test 3 years ago. I think 4 years ago, when they had the National Homebrew Conference in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So. And he's a bright guy, and he's nice. You know, it's one of the things that we talk about all the time is how much good feedback you can get from brewers here, you know, from fellow home brewers and from professional brewers, and everybody's just into sharing. So it's a pleasant.
Not only do you get evaluation, but it also try to tell you how to improve your beer, to get rid of the negative aspects or the bad things that you don't want to have in your beer. So also coming up on March 18th, we've got a Grainfather Brew Day. We have recently purchased our own Grainfather, and we're going to give demonstrations and walk everybody through making a beer on the Grainfather. And then on the 29th, we've got a all-grain brew day, and this is in Millsboro. So.
And that's a fun. That's almost like a little picnic party.
Yes.
You do it on that. That's always a. That's
hopefully
always a fun
Patty
night.
will have chili. Generally chili every time we have brew day in Millsboro.
That's fantastic. And so before we get to the to the news, I also want to talk a little bit to the homebrew section. I want to talk a little bit about Valentine's Day because I got out and we tried some of the XO Stout at Evo, and I forget what a nice afternoon. I've been to 2 beer places.
That's one of the Love on
Tap beers.
Love on Tap beers.
The XO Stout is it's got strawberry in it, but it's the Rise Up Stout with tons of cocoa and strawberries. And I think we mentioned last week, it's almost like the bitterness is coming from the chocolate, but in a really, really good way. And I got to be very, very, very masculine, which isn't something I get to do. So we sat down, and the bartender said, you know, what do you have? And I first ordered a Kathy for my wife, and Kathy's their imperial Russian Imperial Stout. And then I said, you know, hey, do you have any of the XO? And she's like, I can get you some. And I said, well, she'll have the XO. So I got to just point at her and she'll be drinking this. Thank you very much. But it was a lot of fun.